So Greg, I mean, I'm not sure if I need to tell you this, but some of your shirts are kind of crappy. I mean, you know,
What do you mean by crappy? They got a sweet little pocket right here.
I mean they
That's
could be better. I mean, there's a place I know where it has lots of cool stuff. Uh,
Yeah, but how cool?
we're talking about triple A cool. We're talking about shirts from 86.com. They're a pretty cool site. They sell all types of merchandise, including t-shirts, keychains, and other cool stuff that they sell on their site. And also have awesome video game material as well, such as Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, Guilty Gear, Skullgirls, BlazBlue, Smite, and 86's own brand of t-shirts as well as other stuff. Recently they put out some new keychains for Street Fighter 5. So yeah, there's some awesome stuff there. So I'm just suggesting, next time you go out and buy a shirt of any kind, I suggest check out 86.com. And if you want to support us and them at the same time, please use this link in your web browser to check out 86.com. Put in www.86.com !AFF equals 4. Again, www.86.com !AFF equals 4. This link will tell them that we sent you and that we're cool with them as long as you're cool with us. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Shit, the fucking podcast is loud. Uh,
Hey everybody, give me a second here.
there we go. Muted you.
There we go. Hey everybody, it is I, your host, Anthony Bionis from MissionStartPodcast.com, and joining me today, as always, no other than Greg Dietz.
Hey guys, did you ever have that feeling that people are always watching you every Sunday around 8 p.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny too? So I never, because it's been a while since I checked the who's following us on iTunes and Stitcher. I was just on a whim. I went and checked how many people were watching us or following us on Twitter. Who is listening to us on iTunes? And there's a good amount of people actually listening to our opinions. Apparently.
Yeah, I saw those numbers come up, and I was like, "Oh no!"
It's like you unveiled the mask, and it's like, "Oh, what have I done? You made so many mistakes." It's really cool. So for those who are listening to on the podcast feeds on Tuesdays, thank you very much. I'm kind of blown away as far as like how many are listening to our dumbasses, but
I mean, don't get me wrong. Right. My opinion is amazing and always on point, but
Right. But very much, thank you very much for everybody who is listening on the podcast tubes. But enough of that. Let's get right into the news because we got some news to talk about for this week of the 14th of May. And we're gonna start off with some of the most soft news, and then get more into the hard stuff later on. Kind of like drinking. You don't want to go in too hard. You want to skip one or two drinks before you go. The heavy stuff. If that's kind of weird comparison, but whatever.
I'm going with it. Let's do this.
So here is some interesting news. This is reported off of SBNation.com by Adam Stittles. Tom Brady is on the cover of Madden 18 GOAT Edition. There aren't many accolades that Tom Brady has notched off his career checklist, but he has scratched off one more. For the first time, he will be on the cover of EA's Madden's franchise when the game honors some of the NFL's all-time best players in the NFL 18 GOAT Edition. For those who don't know, GOAT means greatest of all time. Brady, 39, has been featured on the Madden cover However, he was the cover athlete on NFL Game Day 2003, now a defunct franchise. Here's they show a picture of him, which you saw in the trailer, of him on the cover of the game. The concern for New England Patriots will be if the famous Madden curse claims another victim. Tight end Rob Gronkowski graced the cover a season ago, but he played in just 8 games and watched Super Bowl 51 from the sideline after a back injury landed him on the injured reserve. And I post the link into the chat. So, it's cool the fact that he finally got on the front of Madden. That was the first time apparently he ever done that. Obviously the other thing would be like, hey, Madden curse. The Madden curse has been I won't say defunct. It has worked sometimes and not worked at all. It all depends.
I've heard a lot of crap about how like the Madden curse has to have some stipulations to it before it takes effect.
It has to be an offensive person or offensive player to get injured per se.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, ultimately, I hate to sound like rude when I say this, but I just could not care less about like Madden at all. I think here's my problem with the Madden franchise is they come out with a new game every year instead of setting like a base game for 5 years that they just keep updating with the new roster.
Yeah.
It would seem to me that it'd make more sense for them to do something like that. So every single year we get somebody new on the cover and then they get injured or, you know, on the off chance that they don't. Like, I think sports players in general use a lot of like superstitions.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They do.
And I think it's ridiculous to think that, like, oh, well, he's an idiot for, like, taking the Madden cover because now he's, you know, his career's over. And
that's dumb. Like, I don't think people will say that, but, like, I don't think Tom Brady thinks that. I don't think anybody in the Patriots organization thinks that. I think that.
Oh, I don't agree with you at all. I think there's plenty of people within the organization
really?
who oh yeah. But here's the thing: is they're not going to stop him.
That's true.
It's money and it's his choice. You know, like I doubt that when he signed a contract, it ever said like you can't be on the cover of Madden.
That's true,
so of course he's going to take that opportunity and get paid for it. Like that's a no-brainer. Yeah. And you want the guy who won the Super Bowl on the cover.
Yes.
And superstitions overall are dumb. We know that.
Unless they work, then that's another story. But that's the inner sports in me.
Causation and correlation are two different things. Just because somebody gets injured after having been on the cover of Madden is not causation. That's just a correlation. Mm-hmm. And correlation does not add up to proper science and or obviousness.
Right.
As you said, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Well, that obviously means that it's not an exact thing. That it's dumb to sit there and go, well, he could get injured. It's like, okay, yeah, and I could fall down the stairs again. I don't know what your point is. Like, so I don't know. I think people are overlooking this, and the whole thing is dumb to me. Yeah. I could care less if Tom Brady's on the cover. I'm not going to play the game.
Yeah, nor am I. I like the fact, like, the only difference is like, I like to point out, usually on a Madden cover, most of the players who are on it, you know, is on a numbered Madden game, like Madden 15, 14, whatever. Not only is this Madden 18, but this is the greatest of all time, the GOAT edition.
Well, the GOAT edition is only there because it's a new thing. Like,
well, okay,
I think saying GOAT is less than a year old.
I would say it's even more recently. Not to be that guy, but like there's a certain wrestler that's been kind of touting that in the past year and a half before Tom Brady and all this stuff.
Sure, but it wasn't super popular like it is now. Is my point. Like when he started it, like he may be credited for starting it, and that's great, but that doesn't matter. It was only been popular for less than a year. And I have another question for you. Mm-hmm. Is there a non-GOAT edition?
Yeah, it's all the other Madden games. Madden 1 through 17 are already all non-GOAT
All right,
editions.
Anthony, I'm gonna have to need you to knock that shit off. Fucking throw straw man arguments at me. Is there a non-GOAT edition of Madden 18?
Oh, I don't think there is. No, I think this is a GOAT edition. Like I think this is like the game is going to be as is.
That's the problem right there. Like it's all nonsense and conjecture. And why are we talking about this? Let's move on.
All right. So as the man said, let's go on to our next story. So this actually kind of came out of left field for me. I didn't really expect this until I saw the announcement and had to think about it. But okay, so let me go back in time. Do you remember Parappa the Rapper game?
Of course. There's two of them.
Do you know of the other rhythm game that it was the same. It was the same. I cannot talk today. The same type of deal as Parappa Rapper, but it's called Guitar Man.
Okay, so a little bit of history on Guitar Man. When I started watching Half Empty Energy Tank long before I was part of the team, the head guy Brian, who we've had on here as a guest, he had a show called Tunes Tuesday, where he would play music-based video games. And I loved that show. I thought it was fantastic. Well, he, because of that show, introduced me to Guitar Man. And now I kind of love Guitar Man.
So the reason why I bring it up is because it was announced this past week. Parappa the Rapper and Guitar Man creators announced Project Rap Rabbit. They're coming together to make a game. This was reported off of Gamasu.com. This is written by Sal Romano. Nanon Shea and Ines have launched a teaser website for Project Rap Rabbit, a collaborative new rhythm action game from Parappa the Rapper creator Masaya Matsura and Guitar Man creator Keiji Yono. Official Twitter and Facebook accounts were also launched. Full information was not announced, and then as you saw on stream, there was the short little video of just kind of hinting at what the video doesn't show was that if you actually go into the website, and actually I'll pop the link into the chat for those who are watching. Oh, for those listening, look it up on their website. When you enter the website, they actually play music as you get in, kind of like back in the old days of people making websites, and like you just enter and like there's this music blaring in your face. But yeah, like it's just really cool. This is actually, so it can either go in two ways. One way is the fact that both these creators are going to come together and make a freaking awesome game and something new and something, original that, that harkens back to what they did in the past. Or that they're too tied to what they know in the past and too tied to the type of style game that they make may not be up to par to today's standards, may not hold up. And the example I would hold up in that idea is ukulele. It's kind of been mixed on that because like it is literally a sequel to Banjo-Kazooie where you collect multiple items, tokens and whatnot. It's a collectathon type of game.
What you're saying is 100% correct. There's a niche audience for stuff like this. I think the reason that, like, people go Kickstarted games, and I go, no, not Kickstarted, because you can't do that. Games like Banjo-Kazooie fail not because they're bad games, because let's be honest, it's not a bad game inherently. It's too much like what it was. Yeah. What it's trying to emulate.
Yeah. And
so I hope that Rap Rabbit does not try to emulate Parappa or Guitar Man. I hope it becomes its own thing. It'll be a rhythm game, of course, as that is a thing. But like Shovel Knight it succeeds because it is its own thing.
Exactly.
Regardless that it borrows from other games, it is its own entity. Stained, Bloodstained.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bloodstained. Yeah, I am super hyped for that game.
Well, don't. Because it's either going to be one of two things. Trying to emulate Castlevania Symphony of the Night too much, or be its own thing. So it could fail. So don't be too hyped.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's my point.
Yeah. Don't be let down. Yeah, coming with
These
low
types
expectations.
Of games, right. When things like this are announced, it's like, do you like Parappa the Rapper? Do you like Guitar Man? Well, here you go, my effers. And it's like, okay, that's a niche audience.
Yeah.
That will not expand past the niche audience.
Mm-hmm.
That will not, and if it does, great. But you prove to me that it will prior to it coming out, because I see too much evidence that it won't. And I truly believe that the creators aren't trying to make a more broad-scoped rhythm game with kooky characters and weird rhythmic controls.
Right.
I don't believe that. I believe that they are trying to market to PS1 fans.
Yeah. The thing about this too, I want to point out that this was not a fundraise game. Like, this was actually the creators coming together. They have a contact with some publisher or some company to actually make this happen. So I am very curious as how this goes. Niche games like this don't sell that well. Right.
I was gonna say. I mean, look at Patapon.
Yeah.
Great rhythm game.
It's freaking awesome.
Did not do well. No. Not well enough, at least.
No.
So.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how that goes, but I just like to point out the fact that this is actually happening, and I would not. Maybe it might have happened back in the day when it was still relevant, but just seeing it being happen now, like years and years after the fact, like it's pretty cool to me. It's still pretty awesome. That's like saying like Hideo Kojima and who else? What's his name? Miyamoto came together to make a game. That's kind of on the level as far as I see it. It's like, whoa, it's pretty sick. But we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll sell decently. I'm sure that it'll do well enough. But I also don't think they're getting a gigantic budget. I think it'll be fairly simple, and I don't know. It's good. It's good. Yeah, I don't want anyone to take my words as like a bad thing or that I want it to fail. I'm basically saying like. I don't think that the audience for it is as big as I think probably the people writing the article do, or fans of it think that it is. So
yeah, I think realistically you're just being more realistic about the situation, just because it's just how it is.
Yeah.
So we'll find out in the near future. Okay, so. Here's something interesting that and this has to do with Prey, but so where's my hang on before I get into it. Where's my there it is. Okay. So and then we get the B-roll. Boom. All right, there we go. Are we in there? Okay, so IGN.com initially reviewed Prey, and it came out with a 4.0. Compared to other review scores of other game websites that had it much higher, and the reason being because there was a bug or a game-breaking bug where like it erased your save, and this was I believe on the PC version of the game, and just kind of go back a little further now.
It's not just PC. My buddy had it on Xbox One.
Oh wow, so it's on every. Yeah. Oh wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
So. Just to go back a little bit further, Bethesda, the people who made this game, put out a new policy when it comes to reviews, and they are not giving websites ahead of time review copies. They're actually releasing it on day of, as same as everybody else, and they've installed this new policy since they released Doom of last year. Now, the 4.0 review score that IGN gave was recently changed to an 8.0 because the game that bug was fixed and it was much better. The thing though that kind of doesn't sit with me, just seeing how all that played out, is that I feel like the reviewer's up to whatever its job to review the game. I feel it's kind of I don't say wrong, but I just don't feel.
It is wrong.
Like it doesn't feel right for the fact that a reviewer or just anybody, like off of a big gaming site or anybody for that matter, goes back and reviewed the review to a higher score because of the initial game wasn't working.
Okay, so as a reviewer, as somebody who reviews stuff on this website,
right, yeah, our resident reviewer, that's right, yeah. So what's your thoughts on all of this?
I find it to be a bit of a BS. Now, what they should have done is put out a little blurb saying, we're not going to give this game a score. We're not going to review this game until this bug is fixed. Once it's fixed, we can put out a score. Now, this would affect Bethesda and Arcane because they are dependent to a certain point on review scores. So many consumers read review scores to base whether they're going to buy a game or not. And I think that's how they should have done. They should just halted their entire review in order to and then once it was fixed, finish the game, or don't finish the game, whatever, and then put out the review. To me, it's nonsense to give it a low score to get their attention, because giving a non-score or no score at all is also just as effective. Mm-hmm. And I think that what they did is a big problem with a lot of reviews on the internet as a whole. Not every review, obviously, like mine, of course, but a lot of reviews on the internet have this issue where, or reviewers, I should say, where they feel like an element, a thing, ruins an entire game.
Yeah.
To me, that's absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
To me, that's absolutely that's basically saying well, I really enjoyed this meal from a restaurant, but my napkin wasn't folded right. So now the whole meal is destroyed. It's that, to me, it's the same thing. I mean, you could go oh, my steak was slightly undercooked, so I had it sent back. Now I'm giving it a lower score. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
Sure, dock it on some score for releasing with a bug. That's fine. You do your review and you're I would give the game a 9, but I'm giving it an 8 because it released with a bug.
Yeah. And
no argument there. Perfectly acceptable.
Definitely.
But to give it a low score and then fix it later, you're disrespecting the review process.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah. And Jason pointed out in the chat says, but everyone is so quick to get their score out and not play it properly, which was true. And that's because of the new policy that Bethesda put out. And people like us and anybody else who wanted to review the game had to buy the game on day one and then play through it and put the review score up on the site. And I've heard from several podcasts that some reviewers were literally playing that game for a good weekend, nonstop, just to rush through it and then review the score. And arguably that's not the proper way. That's not a good way to review games, because then you're just having a rushed idea of what your thoughts of what the game is,
right. That's right, and that's another problem. If the game was bugged and they couldn't finish it and then release the score anyway, then you're literally doing what I vowed not to do, and that's review a game without finishing it.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. When I saw what happened with IGN, as far as changing that, and it made me think for a bit, and I don't quite agree with that idea of somebody going in, because when you write a review, you're putting down your initial thoughts, your initial judgment of a game, and you put it all out there to bear. But to go back and just rewrite what your thoughts were, it kind of, I won't say contradicts yourself. Well, actually it does. It does contradict yourself sometimes, and especially in this review for IGN. You put out your initial thoughts, you go back and you change them. And I'm gonna assume you put down the person who wrote the review, put down their the reasons why they changed it to a higher score in the review, but it doesn't fit right with me.
It absolutely does not feel right. It feels like it feels dishonest. It feels
it does. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I hate every aspect of that. Like, it's like, yes, I'm not defending Bethesda or Arcane in any way for shipping out a game that was broken. No way am I defending that.
Right.
But at the same time, that's on the consumers, by the way. The reason that companies do that now, 100% on the consumers.
I think well, I mean, I think that Bethesda is doing this to basically get the game sold. Without any reviews.
The problem is that because of the internet, because of how consumers buy games, they have to put a release date out way before the game even goes gold. And I think that what should happen nowadays is what it kind of was back then, not to do the whole, like, oh, it was better in the back days. What I think they should do is adjust how they're releasing games or saying announcements. To me, the way that Bethesda handled Fallout 4 was perfect. Like 6 months before it releases, that's when you announce it. That's when you put out a release date.
Mm-hmm. Coming soon, as Jason's
coming soon. Yeah. Stop doing release dates, because release dates are a big issue, and Bethesda did not want to miss that release date. They knew that by doing a whole, like, oh, we got to push it back, could have been a problem. So they just released it and then tried to patch in a fix later. And
that's par for the course. I mean, like, that's been a known issue.
But it shouldn't be.
I know it shouldn't be, but it is how it is now. It really sucks. Like, game companies are going to put in these huge day one patches that change exactly what the game was from the initial launch to what changes they had to make.
I think it's fine to do patches for a multiplayer game. I think it's perfectly acceptable to do it for a multiplayer game. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you need balancing issues. Sometimes people notice or like things that your testers couldn't find, because there's just, there's not thousands of them, quite literally. That just by sheer numbers, people find a bug that they're exploiting, right? Yeah. Then you have to patch that. Yeah. This was not one of those things. This was a bug that could have easily and was easily found. And it was easily fixed.
Yeah, that's true.
So, stuff like that. Plus, praise a single-player game.
I know.
Get it right before you ship it. Period.
I mean, tell the game industry that. It's just the way it is now. It sucks, but it's just kind of what it is. But I will say, connecting this to another news story about Prey. Give me a second here as I bring up the little thing here. Oh, here we go. Okay. So this was reported of Kotaku.com, written by Jason Schroeder. Prey shows that Bethesda review policy is even bad for Bethesda. Prey, the newest game from Arcane Studios, is the most enjoyable when you take your time exploring its concerns and crevices. It is a quite unsettling game, one that can turn into a real drag if you try to rush. Why did Bethesda force the viewers to blaze through the game as quickly as possible? And what kind of lasting damage will this have? For the past year, much of the dismayed critics everywhere, Bethesda's marketing team has refused to send out early codes for their games for Doom, Dishonored 2, and now Prey. Bethesda has provided review copies less than 24 hours in advance, giving reviewers little time to play through those games before they launch. In a blog post last year about the decision, Bethesda offered a laughable justification, writing that, quote, "While we will continue to work with media, streamers, and YouTubers to support their coverage, both before and after release, we want everyone to include those in the media to experience our game at the same time." And I'll put the link in the chat for that article.
That's borderline non-news in my opinion. I think a company should have every right to, when they want to give the copies to the people who are basically going to be reviewing it or propping it up. I don't. I think it's bad for reviewers because you have such a short window of time to review the game. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of times where that happens, and what does IGN or GameSpot do? They go review in progress. Well, and they kind of detail what they're like, where they are.
Yeah.
Or if the game's like Skyrim or Fallout, where it's just huge and takes a ton of time, they also take their time with that. I think I think we're going to be seeing more companies going that route.
You think so? You think that we're going to go into the route of like more companies releasing their games on day one for everybody and not having advanced review copies?
Yes.
Wow.
I'd say more. Here's why. Here's why. We've seen here recently Atlas, and they had a huge backfire on it, but them try to prevent people from having the game be spoiled. Mm-hmm. And we've already gone through my opinion on that, so I'm not going to do that again. But now we're seeing Bethesda go, oh, well, we're only giving reviewers 24 hours to review the game. I see other big companies going even further than that. I see other companies going, well, I mean, we've had situations, Anthony, where a video game company releases a game, or I'm sorry, gives a review copy to a company the same time it comes out. We've seen it a couple of years ago. I don't remember what game, but I remember hearing about it because I was like, wow, the day of, and then what does IGN or GameSpot do, or the other reviews? They just go, well, we'll get the review out when we get the review out. Now, I'm not 100% sure how this benefits the game company, because clearly they realize the importance of reviewers and streamers.
Yeah, that's huge. The thing I will point out, though, is that this wouldn't work with any other company. If it was Joe Schmo, if it was an independent company, if it was a smaller company than Bethesda, I'm not to put the name out there comparison wise, but Super Giant Games, the guys who did Bastion and Transistor, and they're making a new game coming out soon. Like, if they try to release their game to the public without giving a review because they want to enforce that policy, it may actually hurt them more than it will hurt Bethesda, because Bethesda, when it comes to the games they've shown or the games that they want people to get excited for, these games have been, history-wise so far, have done really well. Just not reviews-wise, just like people who are excited enough to buy the game anyways. And it's kind of, and your future is terrifying, but I actually could see that in the future, because we saw with Atlas, just an example, Atlas had the whole, do not stream past this part, but they said it on the day of when they had their game sold. It had some huge backlash amongst fans, but they got their money, and that's all they cared about.
Right. I'm not arguing that. I don't know. I think to a point it's just a weird. It's an interesting time we live in when it comes to how that works.
Yeah, because it's definitely as far as I remember this conversation being brought up on Giant Bomb. As far as how the games are being reviewed now, people don't some people don't read IGN, who don't read GameSpot, would watch their favorite streamer play the game before they give their thoughts, like, oh, this game looks good, I'm gonna go buy it. Especially now with the new Twitch onboard buy game thing, it's actually pretty cool. But aside from that, we live in a new day and age when it comes to games, as far as how they're reviewed.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, I think that they understand the importance of them, which is why they're still releasing copies to reviewers. But I think that it's not as much of an importance as it used to be. Yeah. The internet allows for such easy and cheap advertising. Mm-hmm. I don't remember who it was, but somebody, it might have been MatPat actually, ran down, or not MatPat, I don't remember. Anyway, ran down how it could make or break a company by releasing an advertisement during the Super Bowl versus just having ads on YouTube. And I'm using such extremes, here to make a point.
Yeah, definitely.
The company, there was a company that helped with dogs or something like that, and they had to spend $20 million on advertising during the Super Bowl. Well, it didn't work out for them. They didn't make that money back, and they went bankrupt. But a different company entirely refused to go to Super Bowl and just put all their advertising into online content. So YouTube and other things like YouTube. And not only did they make their money back, but they quadrupled it.
Yeah.
And they had the same amount of eyes on those advertisements than would have been on the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they spent a hell of a lot less money. So I think that because of that, those like statistics alone, it's easier for companies like Bethesda to not be too concerned about reviews like you used to have to been in the back in the day. So
yeah. The times have changed when it comes to media consumption and games being reviewed. The only people that the only people that get hurt by this new policy, at least from Bethesda, for now, and maybe other companies in the future, are the big gaming sites, or any other reviewer actually for that matter, that depend on clicks or depend on a certain amount of.
I'll tell you who could benefit from it and who couldn't benefit from it. So, a game like Prey. A game like Overwatch, I'm sorry. A game like, I literally just saw an Overwatch ad. Like, get those 10 free loot boxes and here's this. Anyway, where was I? Holy crap. Oh, single player games versus multiplayer games.
Yeah,
single player games can totally not have to have any reviews day one and be fine. Because those games are designed specifically by the company to sell over time. Multiplayer games are designed to sell the first week.
I can believe that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's like an interesting little, I think, conundrum right there when it comes to advertising and wanting reviews. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Bethesda is a single player company unless you count on our
Doom multiplayer. Well, and Quake Champions.
Is that by Bethesda?
Yeah, they're the publisher, but yes, they are.
Okay. Well, then we'll see how they handle Quake then.
Yeah.
We'll see how they handle Quake.
Speaking of which, those beta codes went out this past week, and I got one, and it's
nice.
freaking awesome. I love it. It's so good. I'm excited. But yeah, we'll see how it goes in the future. I mean, I think that I don't want to say your future is right when it comes to companies who are going to do the same things as Bethesda, but Bethesda's the first one to actually do this. So far, they've been out of the game. So far, they've been doing pretty good. I mean, Doom was great. Almost, for most people, Game of the Year last year. Dishonored 2 came out. People played it, and, I guess it sold well. I don't know. I haven't really heard much about Dishonored 2. It came and went. And now Prey. And I've heard a lot of people had some good things about Prey. So far, they're doing pretty good so far. So we'll see how it goes in the near future. Our next story, let's talk about a game and a series that I love. That's Star Wars. Give me a second here. Here it is. Okay, so Battlefront 2. EA says Battlefront 2 will have 3 times more content at launch than the previous game. Give me a second here as I bring up the new. All right, there we go. B-roll. Woo. Okay. This is this is reported off of SWG or SWGameOutpost.com, written by Jared. EA finally put a number on how big Battlefront 2 will be thanks to the recent earnings call. Speaking during today's investors event, EA's CEO Andrew Wilson promised that the game will be much larger than EA's first foray into the Battlefront franchise in 2015. Quote, Star Wars Battlefront 2 will have more than 3 times the content than the previous game at launch, he said, with a brand new story, a new single-player campaign, new modes, characters, vehicles, and planets from all eras in the Star Wars universe. He later added, when we say believe the game is 3 times the size in terms of content, we're very serious about that. Our expectation is that the game engage passionate fan base of Star Wars fans around the world are going to love everything that we are doing. So, here's the thing about as far as like being 3 times as bigger. I think that they learned their lesson from Battlefront 1, and I think that the game was the aesthetic, the look, some of the gameplay was great. It was awesome. It's exactly what you wanted out of a Star Wars Battlefront game. but the problem was that there weren't enough content in the game. So like people picked it up, played it, put it away and they moved on to the next game or whatever. And I know a lot of people still play it today, but like, you know, as far as you know, the people I've listened to and the, you know, people just as far as like, you know, the talk online, like it was a come and go type of game, and the reason why it was hindered because it was just not enough content to play. And not that they're learning a lesson this time, 3 times more content, which is great. Let's see how it goes this time around. And I believe Battlefront 2 is coming out. Yes, November. Oh wait, that's
after watching that. After watching that thing, I think that was my first reaction when they were like 3 times the content, and I was like, yeah, no kidding. Did you see the thing where they announced it? And they said how much was going to be in it? Yeah, no kidding, it's 3 times. And Jason points out, like, the first game was 38 gigs.
Oh, man, yeah.
This game's going to be gigantic. Yeah, this game's going to be huge. Well, here's the thing, is that when they say a place from all over in Star Wars, yada, 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 what does that mean exactly? A planet from each movie? A couple planets from each movie? Is it going to be like Naboo and like Geonosis, and then for the second trilogy it'll be like Tatooine, Hoth again, and Endor, and then the last movie will be, because we've only had one movie in the franchise as of right now, it'll be we'll get one from, so we'll have a Scarif. We'll have Scarif from Rogue One.
Yes.
We'll probably have a Death Star in a Cloud City.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably have oh my gosh, what was the name of that damn planet?
Which one?
The one where Maz Kanata was from, where it's basically like a bunch of stormtroopers and rebels fighting.
Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about that one. That was in Star Wars Episode 2, right?
No, Force Awakens.
Oh, Force Awakens. Oh, okay.
Maz Kanata is the like little woman that talks to Han and Rey and tells Rey about like after she touches the lightsaber, yada yada yada.
Okay. I do not know.
I'm just thinking, like, what does that entail exactly? Like, there's so much content. Like some of the DLC
I don't think
the first game.
But I don't think it was more or less like the maps that we're complaining about. I think it was just different content in terms of, like, you know, modes, like different type of modes, maybe extra stuff. Obviously, there's a new story mode now added to the game that people were kind of wondering where it was. And to be fair, though, Battlefront didn't really have a single player story or a single player campaign. You just went from planet to planet shooting people or shooting.
I think content means, Anthony, quite simply, what they showed. You know, like every character, every single hero is all customizable. That's content. More locations, that's content.
Right.
A few more game types, maybe, but I doubt it. Like the game types that were in the first game were fine. I don't think we really need a capture the flag. I just think that, like, yes, Battlefield, the new Battlefield got boring because there just wasn't enough content. And I think that, like, I'm not judging it. I'm just saying, like, new content doesn't mean anything right now. That it doesn't, like, 3 times as much content. We don't have any idea what exactly that means. So we can go, yay, but yay when? Yay, what more info, please, on E3 maybe, sort of, kind of?
Right, definitely. I mean, I think that they've learned their lesson.
I agree. I completely agree.
I think they learned their lesson. I think that they're going to come out of the gates with a better idea as far as, like, what they want the Star Wars Battlefront 2 game to look like, as far as, like, what they want to have in the game.
I think it looked fine. I think what we need. Here's the changes I want to see. Not more content stuff. This is the changes I want to see. How we earn the right to be a hero. Tokens on the field are nonsense. That was so bad, and that needs to be completely different. I think I think we're getting a lot of that. I don't think that that's like we're not going to get a lot of that, but like I also think that they're going to learn their lesson from other multiplayer games that are out now.
That's true too.
Where you have a bunch of microtransactions, but you release everything for free. Like I think that's going to be a big factor. I don't know. I'm really excited about Battlefront 2, sorry, and I'm really excited about what we're going to be getting. I'm just pointing out that, whoa, what's up at the end of this trailer, just Kratos?
Right. The thing I would point out, too, is that I believe that we will see some of that content, or what they're going to be showing at E3, which is actually coming up pretty soon, which is still kind of surprises me sometimes every time we get closer to it. But when it comes to Battlefront 2 and EA, I think that not to mention that like EA has invested a lot of money into Star Wars, especially with the number of companies that are making their own Star Wars game. So we might get to see more. Actually, think about it. Crap, yeah, we'll probably see more Star Wars stuff at this year's E3 than last year.
Absolutely.
I really. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, I completely agree because we have the new Star Wars coming out at the end of this year, so we'll definitely see some at E3. We'll have a release date. I think we have a release date right now, actually.
For Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
It's November 17th.
Okay.
Yep. So like
that makes sense.
A month before the movie comes out. I really want to know what visual games are going to do with the Star Wars license. Those are the guys who made Dead Space series, and I am super excited to see what exactly they have planned up. So we'll see. E3 is going to be obviously an answer to a lot of our questions, but we'll see in the future with Battlefront 2 and EA and all that jazz. Moving on to our next story, and this actually was a huge surprise from a lot of people because this game, this company who made the Hitman series from last year, Hitman was like game of the year for a lot of sites, or close up there. So this is from yourgamer.net. Give me a second as I bring up the B-roll. Did I forget to put it in here? No, I didn't. Okay, cool, awesome. So this was reported off of yourgamer.net. This is by Wesley Yin Pool. Square Enix trying to find a buyer for IO, Future of Hitman in doubt. Square Enix has announced that the shock decision to sell Hitman developer IO Interactive, putting the future of the much-loved series in doubt. In a note to investors, the Japanese corporation wanted a 33 million yen extraordinary loss in its financial results for the year ending March 31st of 2017. The cause of this loss is the planned sale of the Danish studio. Here's Square Enix statement. Quote, to maximize player satisfaction as well as market potential going forward, we are focusing our resources and energies on key franchises and studios. As a result, the company has regrettably decided to withdraw from the business of IO Interactive as a wholly owned subsidiary. I cannot say this word.
Subsidiary.
Yes, and the Danish corporation on March 31st, 2017. Square Enix has said it has started discussion with potential new investors and is currently in negotiations to secure the investment, but there are no guarantees that negotiations will conclude successfully based on the wording of Square Enix's note, and it seems a buyer cannot be secured. If a buyer is not secured, then IO will be shut down. Also, just to kind of follow up on this, give me a second here. On a follow-up on this, also on YourGamer.net, meanwhile, Square Enix just reported huge sales and profits. Final Fantasy 15 and Rise of the Tomb Raider on PS4 do well. Square Enix is binning off a Hitman developer IO Interactive, but it's just announced record revenue and profits for the company as a whole. From financial year ending on March 31st, Square Enix saw the net sales of 17 billion yen and an increase in 20% versus the previous year, with an operating income up to 20.8% and ordinary income 22.9%. Square Enix has said that the launch of Final Fantasy 15 and PS4 version of Rise of the Tomb Raider, as well as a strong download sales of catalog titles, has sparked the increase in net sales and operating income in the area of the console games. So it's business. I get it. It's still rather shocking that a game that had very, very much high praise in the last year, that Square Enix decided to just like to axe it, or to axe the company who made it, and that it wasn't up to par as far as like how much they want. But yet, Final Fantasy 15 and the Tomb Raider game, Rise of the Tomb Raider, did well for them. So it sucks, but I did hear that IO has actually have found somebody, or is in the look for somebody. But it's yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I have an opinion on this. I think this is just what happens in the entertainment industry. We've discussed how something like this can happen. When you work for an industry that kind of caters to the whims of its customers so powerfully and strongly that this is the case, that you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You release a game and you're just praying that it does well. So,
yeah.
Good luck to all the people that worked at IO, and I mean, it sucks, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, definitely. It shocks me, the fact that a game that's having so much high praise from a lot of game websites and a lot of people, that a game's really good, and it still is to this day. Like, it is really, really good. But I guess some games just don't sell as well. I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like, the game industry is a very weird thing, and some games you would think will sell well and they don't, and then other games that you think that won't sell well will. I don't know. It's a weird industry. So, that being said, our main topic for tonight.
Oh, okay.
Is that
Anthony, I got my hat ready.
Oh, right. Hang on. Forgot about that. Yeah, before we get into that. Sorry about that. I totally forgot. Yes.
Every week you do.
I totally forgot. All right, so let me get that set up for you. Okay, so as always, it is time for your Overwatch Minute with Greg. Let me get this set up here. All right, music is on. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Greg Deeds with the Overwatch Minute.
Okay, so a few things have happened the past week. Firstly, a lot of PTR adjustments have happened. Few characters have been adjusted. Nothing major, nothing huge. Some people are saying that the soldier nerf was too much, but I'm saying you're not going to notice it. Basically went from like 19 or 20 damage to 19 damage. But I mean, you're shooting out so many bullets a second that it's not terribly noticeable, and you can kill a Pharah with one full clip. So, I don't know. Lucio's got some adjustments. Oh, that's the new PT. I was like, I'm looking at the new thing. Hanzo and Genji had some slight adjustments that you won't really notice too much. Orisa, her like ultimate has been the damage boost has been reduced by 15% because people thought it was a little too OP, since it buffs the entire team. And the barriers she can put down is reduced by 4 seconds on the cooldown. So she should be more formidable, since her hitbox on her head is gigantic, which makes her a counter for Widowmaker and Hanzo. But just a few like quality of life adjustments. Reinhardt's Earth Shatter now has been lowered from 3 meters to 2 meters and won't climb things like the payload, which a lot of people have been complaining about. I watched my buddy. He was playing as Pharah, and he was floating a solid like 4 meters in the air, and Reinhardt's hammer down knocked him down in the middle of his ult. So, so he's excited about that. But yeah, a few bugs have been fixed, quality of life changes, adjustments, and stuff like that. So it's been really cool. Overwatch released an infographic for the Uprising event. There were 145.5 million matches completed. There were 67 million Overwatch victories and 78 million null sector victories, meaning that the null sectors won.
Oh, wow.
Or the Omnics won, I should say. There were 8.5 billion null sector robots destroyed. For story mode, this is interesting to me. So there were 4 difficulties. There was normal, hard, expert, and legendary. Normal win rate was 75%. Hard was 28%, expert was 3%, and legendary was 0.6% on all platforms.
Wow.
And that was just with the standard like Reinhardt, Mercy, Tracer, and Torbjorn. But in the all heroes mode, where you could pick whatever hero you wanted, whatever comp you wanted, the win rate for normal was 75% again. Now, I thought it would have been higher just because you can have characters that are much more powerful against the Omnics, like Bastion. But nope, it was still 75%. But Hard did have an increase. It went up to 35%. So did Expert, went up to 10%. But Legendary still only had 1%. Like, it's still higher than 0.6, but it's still really low. There were 815.5 million loot boxes, uprising loot boxes opened. And the 4 heroes that were most crafted, meaning that you just bought them with in-game currency, was Genji, McCree, Mercy, and Reinhardt, which I think says a lot. So I thought that graph was interesting. And then I have my list right here on my phone. Let me pull it up real quick. Yada, yada, yada. So, anniversary event was leaked a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, so, you know the website trueachievements.com?
Yeah.
They showed that on the Microsoft website for a brief moment in time, you could buy 50. It showed 50 loot boxes, and it's like in a super gray, like just gray looking box. Like it looks like a normal loot box, but it's just dark and gray.
Right.
And
right.
it says the event goes until June 5th, which would mean that every single event lasts 3 weeks. This event will probably last 3 weeks, which means that it probably starts this Tuesday on the 16th. That makes
perfect sense. Because the game came out June 5th last year?
No, it came out the 23rd last year of May.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
Which means that the event... I just hit the fucking table with water and... Damn it. What it means is that the event... That the anniversary day will be right in the center of the event, which also makes a ton of sense. But this is also, people aren't 100% sure. It's only a picture... But True Achievements is also a website that you can trust. So, like, IGN's reported on it, GameSpot. A ton of groups have reported on it. So, where normally it's just a few YouTubers. So this one has more legs,
Okay.
There's a small problem with Genji's ult. They basically, in that PTR I was talking about, where he could wall run and jump off the wall, and he wasn't able to attack immediately. He now can. So if somebody's really, really skilled during the ult, you can get 10 or more slashes with the sword.
They gave that back. Why? Why did they give him back to him?
Quality of life. People were complaining that, like it was a situation where he couldn't just continuously double jump. Basically, it was like hit the wall, jump, hit the wall, jump, hit the wall, jump, and people could he just never hit the ground. Now, if he double jumps and hits the wall, he doesn't get a second jump. Like he'll just he'll have to hit the ground. But the problem is that even in his original state, it would always just a slight cooldown on him being able to throw shurikens. Mm-hmm. Now it's like the second he's off the wall, he can start throwing them. So, but this is a small problem with his ult. Now, for somebody to utilize it in battle is insane to me. Like, you just have to be just way too good with Genji. There was, just today, it was kind of shown why you can't share all of your skins and sprays and all that junk to other basically the idea is what we were talking about a while back with server issues, where if a game is on the PlayStation console, it uses PlayStation servers. So on the Xbox console, it uses Xbox servers, but if it's on PC, it uses the company servers. So like with Blizzard, the reason that like when you report someone on console, it goes to the it goes to like Microsoft or Sony is because Blizzard has nothing to do with those servers. They can't do anything, which is exactly why you can't share your unlocks between each blah, 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 blah. It makes perfect sense. Basically saying that servers are locked to the company and that's it.
Cool.
But the thing I wanted to bring you in on, Anthony, is that there is some contention within the community.
Okay.
And that's the Omni skin for Genji and the Police skin for Diva are really good skins that people want. But they're forced to play an entirely different game that's not like the one they want to play.
I saw some talk about this, and people, including my friends, wanted to get those skins specifically because it was, I mean, first of all, I have a lot of friends who are a bunch of anime weebs. Well, I'm an anime weeb myself, so, but like there were, I believe the skins were the Neon Genesis skin for Genji and Diva, right? Or Diva was
That's just in HOTS. That's not an Overwatch. No.
Okay.
No,
it was the I know you're talking about, it was the Diva Police skin, right? Yeah. Okay, I gotcha.
The Evangelion skins for Diva and Genji and Lucia or whatever, those are in HOTS specifically, and you can just earn those by playing Heroes of the Storm. But with Overwatch, to get the Diva skin and the Genji skin, you have to play Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
Now, originally, when they did this a while back with the Nexus Challenge, it was like 16 matches, and then you got the Genji skin, right? Mm-hmm. But you could just do versus AI, and it wasn't a big deal. Just do 16 matches with a friend against AI, you got your skin. But this time around, to get the Diva skin, to get the Diva spray, and then the icon, and to get the 10 loot boxes this upcoming Tuesday, you have to play against other people. You have to do quick play, ranked, or something else. Here's the problem. And this is coming from the Heroes of the Storm community.
Yeah.
We're tired of playing with a bunch of people from Overwatch who don't give a crap about our game and are throwing matches just to get these rewards.
Yeah, and I believe Blizzard made a statement that they noticed this and that they wanted to address it. My thoughts on it, it's pretty crappy. Like, if people were coming into another game specifically just because they want a skin for their own game, that just kind of sours the well. It doesn't make their community look any better than the HOTS community. It actually makes them look worse. And I think that that idea in practice is kind of, for Blizzard, they're trying to promote their other games so that people can play their other games. It's like they might get into HOTS. It's like, hey, I like Overwatch. I like these Overwatch characters in HOTS. Maybe I'll play this more. And I get the reasoning behind it, but the way that it is being performed right now, it's not. I don't think in Blizzard's intent, and I don't think this is a proper way to do it, because all you're doing is you're making people angry, and that's not what you want to do.
Like I said, if it was all just against the AI, it probably wouldn't be a problem. I mean, I think it's kind of shady to begin with to do this whole like go play a different game to get something in the game you want to play.
Yeah.
It's nonsense to begin with, but I understand the idea behind it. Like, Here's the Storm and Hearthstone or whatever are free to play games. Overwatch isn't. So you can't have Here's the Storm players go to Overwatch to get Here's the Storm skins. You have to do it the other way around. And I get it, because they want people to play Here's the Storm.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna accomplish that. It's not going to work the way you want it to. There aren't going to be Overwatch people who come to Heroes of the Storm to get those skins and go, I want to play a lot of Heroes of the Storm, blah 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 blah. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, and not to
mention, if it does, it's such a tiny number that I don't think it works.
Not to mention that I don't want to say it's a desperation move, but I kind of feel like for HOT specifically that they are trying to get people to play it more. Because I think out of the games they have right now, I think that's the most least played out of the lineup for Blizzard, in my opinion. If you talk about games that we're playing now, people are playing a crap ton of Diablo 3, people playing the crap out of Overwatch, people are still playing a lot of StarCraft 2. Game be dead or not to some people. And Hearthstone is still being very much played, and HOT is.
Well, I'll tell you. Well, you keep belching. I'll tell you where Blizzard went correct with Hearthstone. Oh my gosh, sorry. All of a sudden, my dinner was just like, I'm making an appearance tonight. I'll tell you the problem with Hearthstone. Or not the problem. I'll tell you where they went correct with Hearthstone and why Hearthstone will be around forever. Mobile.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Mobile. The addition of mobile to Hearthstone is huge. I remember when it was first unveiled, that I played a crap ton of it on my phone, and I was like, just like in the bathroom, just like, give me 20 minutes, I'll be done. I'm not playing a game, honestly.
But yeah, no, I want to bring it up because I feel like, from my perspective, I understand the business aspect of it, and I understand what they're trying to do, but they should have just kept it to just going against the AI. It should not have been going against other people because, I mean, I'm guilty of this. I'm even guilty of this, of just throwing matches to get them over as fast as possible to get the skin.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to, first off, I don't want to play a MOBA. I just don't. I just want the rewards. So, I don't know. I think if they do a Nexus Challenge again, they need to take note of this because the Heroes of the Storm community is furious.
Oh yeah, without no question. It's justifiably slow or so. So yeah, I agree. I think that that there was not their intention, but because of it, people are mad, and that's not what you want, especially when it comes to Blizzard. And most time Blizzard fans are, depending on what game it is, they're pretty happy for the most part.
Right. I think that for I think that for Overwatch players, at least go in and type into the chat, I just want the skins, because I did that this last week. I went in and said, guys, I'm terrible at this game and I'm just playing it for the skins, so I apologize if we lose. And they were like, no, it's cool. We've been dealing with it all week. Glad you're saying something honest. And I was like, yeah, I just want to be honest with you, upfront and honest with you guys. So we'll probably lose because I don't play MOBAs. I'm terrible at them, and I'd rather just be playing Overwatch. But they're forcing us to do this. And he was like, or they were just like, no, it's cool, understandable. Let's throw the match. And I was like, sweet. So.
Awesome. Hey, what do you know? Asking politely actually leads you to awesome things. Quality of life stuff. In real life.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that has been your Overwatch Minute with Greg Dietz. Now, moving on to, let me put the music back on. There we go. Okay. Now moving on as one person has been pretty excited here is talk about E3 stuff. So we talked about Microsoft last week. Now we're talking about the Sony press conference predictions for this episode. Let me quickly bring up the Sony press conference E3 day. I believe they recently announced that it's going to be on a Monday. Usually where Microsoft's spot would be, but now they're going to do their Sony press conference on a Monday during the E3 week. So give me a second here. Schedule. Google Chrome with the answer. Alright, so E3 2017 press conference for Sony. So it's going to be, this is off of IGN.com by the way. Sony's press conference is going to be on Monday, June 12th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Oh wow, okay, cool. So going to be in evening time. Alright, freak yeah.
Frick yeah.
I would say the other word, but I can't. Yeah, so yeah, it's gonna be that's gonna be the date and time where they're gonna do their press conference. Sony has done the last 2 years like a gamer's dream as far as like it's been whatever long so-called dead game or game you wanted to have a sequel to or announce, that they're doing it. And the past 2 years they've been hitting it out of the park when it comes to a lot of games that people are really excited for. I think obviously that we'll probably see some out of E3 for Final Fantasy 7. What was it called? It's like Final Fantasy 7 remake. Yeah, we'll probably see some out of E3 this year.
I hope so.
We haven't heard anything about it in a long time since they showed off. I think what was it? The gameplay footage at like the Sony Press PlayStation Experience, not last year but the year prior. Well, that and a screenshot. I think that I expect to see some sort of update when it comes to the other game, the fundraising game, Shenmue. I think we'll definitely see some out of Sony when it comes to Shenmue, as far as like what's going on with the game, maybe a new gameplay trailer or whatnot. I think
I don't agree. I don't think we'll see anything on Shenmue.
You think so? You don't think so?
When they announced it, when they did the whole like announcement of the Kickstarter, it was already like nothing had been made yet. Sorry, nothing had been made yet at the time.
Oh, that's true. You're right. Yeah, that's true. We might, if anything, we might see like maybe a screenshot if they want to do that, or maybe that's
I think the most we'll see is when they do those big like
those quick reels where like yeah. Okay, yeah, for sure.
I see the name or Shenmue's face go by from the Dreamcast days, but other than that, I don't think we're seeing anything.
Yeah, for sure. I expect to see something out of Street Fighter V character reveal. I mean, that's par for the course for Capcom and Sony press conference because they're kind of tied at the hip when it comes to that game. I think that let's see what else we're going to be seeing at that press conference. Okay, how about a list here as far as like what was announced at the PlayStation Experience last year. So games were announced from Activision: Destiny, Rise of Iron, Call of Duty: Infinite Warfare, Crash Bandicoot, Insane Trilogy. Persona 5 was also announced from Alice. Ace Combat 7, Ni no Kuni: Revenant Kingdom, the sequel to Ni no Kuni. That's cool. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Resident Evil 7. Ooh, that they're gonna show some Resident Evil 7 DLC. I'm hoping that. I think they will. Yeah. Street Fighter 5, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. More than likely, we'll see some more Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite stuff. Probably another character reveal. Maybe more than that. Maybe they showed a lot in the last trailer. Let's see. We got Absolver from Absolver Digital. Mother Russia Bleeds. Strafe. Then Double Fine is Full Throttle Remastered. Then we got .emu with Windjammers and Wise Origins. Windjammers is out this year, right? Hang on, let me check real quick. Because I know that was a game I was pretty excited for. I know people were too. Let's see. Windjammers. Release date. Hang on, let me look it up real quick. As far as other games on the list that were announced, Dreadnought from Greybox, Let It Die, which is out already. It might be some new DLC for Let It Die. I don't know. We'll see on that.
Yeah, probably actually.
Next Machina from Housemarque, Neo. I think that we might see some DLC trailer because I know they've recently put out DLC for Neo, and that Neo is really good. It is like, my God, if you love Ninja Gaiden and Dark Souls, that is a game for you. We got Danganronpa V3 was announced on this America. Sega, Sonic Mania, Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, Yakuza Kiwami. I'm horrible at Japanese. Hatsune Miku, Project Diva Future Tone, and then Sony Interactive Entertainment, Death Stranding. Oh, of course we have to have some. We're gonna have some weird ass trailer from Hideo Kojima again for the third year in a row, which I don't mind this. I actually love his trailers. We'll see some weird ass stuff happening from him. Who knows? We might see some other celebrity have a baby with him. I don't know. Hideo Kojima's weird.
I think we'll actually get a full trailer this time.
Yeah, we'll see some gameplay. Crossing fingers, hopefully.
I think we'll get more on story, but no gameplay.
Okay.
Personal opinion. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but that's
right. Gran Turismo Sport, Gravity Rush 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, Knack 2. Oh god, we're gonna see Knack 2. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I don't know why that game exists.
Knack 2.
I don't know why that game exists. Who wanted another Knack, honestly? Loco Roco, MLB The Show 17, Proper the Rapper, Patapon, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us Part 2. That's gonna be there. Freaking, The Last of Us Part 2 is gonna be there for sure. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, that would be there too. Wipeout Omega Collection, I believe that was. I think it's still not out yet, so that might show that there. Super Giant Games with Prire? I don't know how to pronounce that. Pyere. I believe that'd be there. And then Square Enix was Nier Automata and Lara Croft Go. These were the games that were announced at the 2016 PlayStation Experience. So kind of interesting as far as like what some of these games already have been released or is out there right now. But as far as like what we can go forward from this. I think that there definitely will be some comebacks. Last of Us Part 2 is going to be there for sure.
Yeah.
I think that we'll see a Death Stranding trailer for sure. I think we'll see another Wipeout trailer. I don't think Wipeout's out right now. Wipeout Omega Collection. But I think... Let's see, what else? Kind of looking at this. I think we'll get another trailer for... I think... maybe too soon, but they might have another DLC trailer for Noah. Then
forgot about how popular the game is.
The game is super popular. It's super good. I think so. We had this conversation last week as far as like, I was on the side that the fact that the next Call of Duty game is going to be on the Microsoft stage, but they showed off Infinite War for last year during the PlayStation Experience, and they also showed off a new Call of Duty on their E3 press conference at the Sony stage. So history has shown that the next Call of Duty game or the where it's going to be shown at, it's going to be on the Sony PlayStation Store or PlayStation.
Here's why I'm skeptical on that. Microsoft has been doing a lot of work of trying to get better in with game developers for exclusive stuff. So, as I'm not saying that COD won't be at the PlayStation 1, don't count out Microsoft to do something about that.
Yeah. Money talks. Money does talk. And Activision is no fool when it comes to it. I think the other big thing here is Destiny. We're gonna see Destiny 2 on the Sony press conference.
100%, because they already have an they already announced that there was a PS4 exclusive. So
yeah, it's it's funny. I talked to you or I might talk to somebody else about it. It might be on this podcast as well. Actually, going back, I am very open to trying out Destiny 2. I enjoyed my time with Destiny 1 when I was playing it, and I felt off the game pretty hard after playing up to level 20.
Listen to our podcast that we did on it because we had somebody very angry at us.
Yep. Yeah. I'm willing to give Destiny 2 a shot. So I'm
100% willing to give Destiny 2 a shot. I've read about some of the stuff that they're trying to implement into the game, and I'm very, very excited for it. And I get why they're doing the exclusive with Sony because money talks, as you said earlier. But I think ultimately, like, you're just closing off like a certain part of the fan base, and I don't think that's a smart move. But whatever. Yeah,
I mean, like, the one thing I will say about I love the fact that even in the trailer it's like, what's the reason for losing all your loot and your gear? And it's like, oh, they blew it up. Now we're going to go after them.
Here's my question: is that Destiny 1, when it came to the exclusive stuff for Sony, it was all.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, that's right. The 18th. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, the 18th has a.
Oh really?
Has a big Destiny reveal. Yeah.
I have to watch then. Thank you for letting me know.
What we're gonna see during E3 with Destiny is definitely on the PlayStation side, and it's gonna be the PlayStation exclusive stuff. I don't think we're gonna see the PlayStation exclusive stuff this on the 18th. But what I'm curious about is what that PlayStation exclusive stuff is, simply because we
okay.
Yeah. People hated that. Like,
for those listening on the podcast, what Mighty Sandwich is pointing out in the chat is that the exclusives were weapons, maps, and strikes, and a few armor pieces.
And for me, I thought that having like 3 strikes in general was bad, but taking away one for an exclusive reason was even worse. Mm-hmm. So I want the exclusives to be just cosmetic shit. Like, I don't want to see it be stuff that is going to prolong the life of the game, because it's just nonsense. It's just straight up nonsense.
Yeah. I think pie in the sky, I would love to see Destiny exclusives to the PS4, but can interact with the PC version as well, much like Street Fighter V, how they can play against each other. If that happens, I am all over the PC version, and I'd be like, yes, and then we can play together online. That'd be pretty awesome. But yeah, no, that would be freaking awesome. I'd love to see that. I am very interested to see what happens with Destiny 2 at this year's E3 for sure. I think that it's going to be time exclusive, obviously, for PS4, but in some of the content. But I think that as far as I know, like, Destiny is more. That game is more, because it is multi-platform. It is on PS4 and Xbox One, but that is more affiliated with PS4. If you talk to some people, or you talk to people in general, that they're more in favor of it on the PS4 than Xbox One. But I'm super excited. I want to see Bungie nail it this time. So I want to see what they learned from last time. And
I want to address what Mighty Sandwich is saying. I think that crossplay would work for the anything that's not competitive. Competitive, no, definitely don't do that for competitive. But crossplay for strikes and raids and shit like that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be good. I didn't mean it competitive wise. Like, I mean in a PvE player versus environment type of situation. So, aside from that, I think they'll definitely show some more Crash Bandicoot, because Crash Bandicoot's out at the end of June. So they'll probably show some more. I mean, they've been showing some awesome, just like, comparison shots between like, the old and new.
It'll be a huge advertisement, essentially.
Yeah, well, yeah, they'll no doubt. I don't know what else they'll say about the game. Maybe they'll have a surprise announcement like, hey, we're also going to be showing off another game that is going to be included in this one that you didn't know about. I don't know, some crazy stuff. But I'm more than likely excited, because that game is freaking, it's my childhood, quite literally. But yeah, we'll see. You
were an anthropomorphic Bandicoot? Like, I'm confused.
Let me clarify. No, I played that game when I was a very young man.
You know what I'm doing. You know exactly what I'm doing.
Yes, I somehow grew orange hair, spiky hair, and I spun around a lot. Actually, it's kind of not too far from the truth, honestly. I was a very active young kid, so that's not too far from the truth. Aside from that, just kind of looking down the list as far as, like, other than that, as far as anything else that Sony could do, they have talking about the PS4 Pro. That came out, and I wonder if they're gonna add anything to that. I think that maybe they're gonna step away from that, or maybe a price cut. Actually, no way. A price cut would make sense, actually, for Sony right now.
We were talking about that a few weeks ago.
Would it be a timed price cut, or would it just be?
No, I think it'll be a winter, like a November price cut.
That makes sense. That makes total sense. Maybe it'd be in time for a game like Destiny 2. Is Destiny 2 coming out this year?
Yes, it does. And I don't agree with it being for Destiny 2. I just think that they're just going to try to compete against Microsoft and the Switch primarily.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely see a price cut in the press conference. I could definitely see that happening. Or if it doesn't, that's fine too. Aside from that, I don't. Maybe we'll see some PSVR stuff. I I've heard that it's done. I heard from I remember we talked on the podcast, like, it done really well. I think that we'll probably, you know what, I think they will probably talk about it. They'll show us, like, maybe some new games for it, maybe, at the E3 press conference. Yeah, I can see that happening. I think that the price will stay the same for the PSVR. I don't think it's going down anytime soon. But they'll show some more games, because that's what that needs. The PSVR just needs more games, more actual games, and not just walking simulators and shooting galleries.
Yeah.
Aside from that, though, I'm trying to think of anything else. Like, I think outside of that, it would just come down to surprise announcements that may or may not happen with the Sony press conference. That may come out of left field, right, or I almost said right field, left and right. I'm not quite sure what else to think of as far as, like, what else Sony can do, because the past 2 years they've been just putting out games that people really wanted to see, and
yeah, that's been their, like, bread and butter, is just making, like, just, oh, you want games? True. Well, games, here's games, like that. I don't know, just they're gonna do the same thing again this year, and I don't know, Anthony. They're gonna be Sony. They're gonna have some weird ass titles that we've never heard of, or that we have heard of, and we're gonna get a lot of fun titles that everyone wants and everyone's gonna freak out over. Like you said, I think we're getting a lot of the hell is it called? Oh my Lanta! Why am I drawing a complete blank?
And
Last of Us 2. We're getting a lot of Last of Us 2.
I think we're gonna get that and God of War, some more of that, because that was pretty cool. I like the new God of War aspect. So I want to see more of that for sure. I'm pretty sure it will be shown definitely at the Sony press conference. I think that usually Sony's press conferences are usually like. It's usually like very, very strong compared to the other two. Whoever you may talk to, like, people will say, like, oh, Nintendo press conference is the best. And I've definitely been guilty of that at times, where, like, I think that, that Nintendo beating everybody out of the water when it comes to their games. But Sony's press conferences have gotten a lot better in the past 2 years. I would say that I think they'll take at least one shot at Microsoft at some point, because they kind of been doing that, and it's kind of been great. I love this kind of back and forth.
I don't know that they will, and here's why. They did it once with the when the systems were originally announced. And when did they do it again? Honestly.
What was it? Oh, what was in their press conference? It was. What was it? What I'm thinking of is like Microsoft saying about their how their backward games work on their console versus Sony, and intentionally. So I don't think it was the E3 I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of probably recently. Oh, whatever.
Okay, I was gonna say, because I don't think that they're gonna do that this year. Either company's gonna do that this year. I think it's gonna be. I really do feel that this EA is going to be a bit cut and dry. I don't think we're getting anything like mind blowing. I do believe that Sony will be doing a lot of fan service with their announces and showing stuff. I don't think we're getting any like newer games that are really cool and that everyone wants to play. It'll be a lot of stuff that we've seen and we know about already.
Yeah. I mean, the gaming industry is becoming more easier to predict nowadays than what it used to be. I think that, and I just kind of bring up my sandwich comments real quick. Scorpio announcements could factor into the Sony event, and Microsoft has their conference first with AR. If it's priced anywhere near PS4 Pro, then Sony cuts the Pro price point. Yeah, I could see it happening.
Sure, but I still don't think that that's. I believe that they're already going to drop the price point simply because they can. I don't believe that Sony's dropping the price point to give a big old middle finger to Microsoft. They're just like, well, we got to compete against Microsoft, which is just basic business.
So kind of thinking about another game that could potentially be on Sony's platform, Do you think Battlefront 2 is going to be on Sony's press conference stage?
Oh boy, yes. Because I think there's still that contract. If you remember, Battlefield 1 was on the Sony stage. And there was a Sony PS4 console that had all like the bells and whistles.
Oh, it's right. That's right. I totally forgot about that. Yeah. You're totally right. We'll probably see it.
Yeah. Well, realistically, I think we'll see more of it at the E3 press or the EA press conference.
Oh yeah, I think we'll see like a teaser, or maybe a small snippet, but like most of it will be that EA press conference. So.
I think what Sony wants to do, what they're going to do, is a lot, like I said, a lot of fan service. Square Enix is going to come out and be like, Kingdom Hearts 3. I was on my brain. Stop. And this and that. No, just a lot of fan service.
If Sony comes out of the gate with Kingdom Hearts 3, that would kind of blow my mind, because we haven't heard anything about that. And then the guy who's making Kingdom Hearts 3 is also making Final Fantasy 7. So I was like, yeah, that'd be kind of crazy to think, but I think that
you got to think of the exclusive titles that they have that they can really shoot off. And Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake are not exclusives anymore. Those are going to be on the PC and Xbox. So they're going to show them because there's a bigger fan base for those games on the PlayStation consoles. But I really do feel that God damn it, my brain. We're about half an hour over. My brain just stopped. I really do feel that they're going to put a lot of time and effort into telling us what the new God of War is, what the what's going on in Last of Us 2 with Crash Bandicoot. We're going to get a huge Crash Bandicoot thing. We're going to get a whole slew of like indie titles that are coming to PlayStation exclusively.
That's true. Yeah, we'll see that whole sizzle reel of like indie titles and other small games coming.
I truly believe that this E3 will be basic as I only say that in like no company's going to do something that's going to blow us away. We're going to leave each one going like, man, this trailer was really rad, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like Microsoft's going to come out and be like, Scorpio, and we're going to be like, yeah, we already know. Because you already know.
They're going to tout the most powerful system in the world. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that we won't see many surprises out of the Sony press conference. I think that, it's going to be a ton of fan service that may end up happening during the press conference. And as history has shown, that's kind of in the direction they're going towards anyways. I think that what the games that have shown recently, the Sony PlayStation experience, are probably going to be a good indication as far as like what we're going to see. And we might see some new IPs. We might see some new stuff, which would be really cool if we did.
Like E3 is becoming the trailer convention, because we're not getting anything out of each conference that is super like mind blowing like we did back in the day, and that's because the companies are like, well, they get leaked on the internet, so we might as well make the announcement ourselves.
That's true too. In the span of right now, and as far as like when it comes to E3,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Mighty Sandwich is something that triggers me. I'm so frustrated and infuriated that game's not out yet.
I know, right? I was about to say that Cuphead, I want that game so bad. It looks so good, but it's not out. Oh, man. That is one of the games I've been waiting so long for. And I haven't seen anything out of that developer in a long time.
I know for the sake of the podcast, we're not supposed to talk about what the chat's talking about as often, but that's one comment.
We had to point it out. But you're right, no, like we're probably going to see much of what we've been predicted so far tonight. Actually, speaking of which, I should definitely just have a bingo chart just to have.
We should absolutely play bingo, and then like show our things online, like on Twitter. We definitely need to have Twitter arguments again.
Oh man,
that was all. I mean,
fun. I could crap. I can shit post you right now if you want.
Not shit post. Like, let's be legitimate about it.
Like, hey, Greg, your booty.
Well, this got weird real quick. Why don't we end the podcast now? I think that seems about.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end it. Yeah, Greg, your booty. That's the end of the podcast. So thank you for coming by. So before we end the podcast, where can they find you on the internets?
You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram under Chub Rock Geek. Just search Chub Rock Geek, and you'll be able to find me. I stream every Saturday night on Half Empty E-Tank. That is twitch.tv/Half Empty E-Tank. I recently started up a blog that I started 4 years ago called The Geek Losing It. You might remember that, Anthony?
Yes.
It was basically me talking about my weight loss and then talking about something geeky. I'm going to be bringing that back, but with my knowledge on how to entertain on the internet. My videos will be about 2 minutes long.
Sick. Awesome. Cannot wait.
Real short.
Cannot wait.
I actually got an episode up right now. If you go to YouTube and type in Chub Rock Geek, you should be able to find my channel. The new episode is called The Geek Losing It. I'm back. I'll be doing that not as often, but I got a whole new weight loss plan, and I always have opinions about geeky things. So leave comments down below in the video itself, and I will try to bring up what you guys want me to bring up.
That's pretty sick. Yeah, I'm super excited.
And for the website itself, I have a Flint Hook review coming soon. The game is a roguelite, so I still haven't beaten it, but I've played enough of the game to understand what the rest of the game will be. So I feel like I can do an honest review. I just don't have the time to put into it to beat it before I can write a review, so it's just going to have to be victoryless. And then this upcoming Tuesday, I'll be trying to review Injustice 2.
Oh, are you? Oh, yeah. Yes. One of the things I'm really excited for Injustice 2 is the story. The story is so good. Man, cannot wait.
That's kind of where I'm going to be excited about and living in that aspect. But yeah, a lot of fun stuff coming down the pipeline and my own personal stuff in my personal life. So definitely keep an eye on my Twitters and my Facebooks and yada, yada, yada. And you'll be able to keep up with what I'm doing.
All right. Awesome. You can follow me on Twitter at DefectiveNaruto. You can follow the work that me and Greg do on our website at missionstartpodcast.com. We are live every Sunday night, 8 p.m. at this time on this Twitch channel, twitch.tv/missionstartp. Also, for those listening, we did change our Twitch name to Mission Start P versus Mission Start Podcast. It's probably easier to type in than trying to remember the whole entire thing. Anyways, we are also on iTunes and Stitcher. Just look up Mission Start Podcast, and we're also in the podcast section on our site. I usually post these every Tuesday. The audio version per se. Video versions I'm kind of been lackluster, but I'm getting better at it. But yeah, check it out. Also, check out The Conover, which is a podcast at whatever convention we've been to. We talk about what we're excited for, what our thoughts were about the convention. It's going to be evolving pretty soon. I have some plans for it actually. So it's also on iTunes and Stitcher. And be on the lookout for a new Conover episode coming up pretty soon for Fanime, the San Jose Anime Convention, which is actually about 2 weeks away. It's very close. So check it out. Also, the Rolling 20s, hosted by Jeremy Wilson on our website. It is a comic book, anime, video game, just everything in one neat package of a podcast. You can also find out on iTunes and Stitcher, and as well as in the podcast section of our website. And yeah, you check it out. Also, as I say this for the fourth time in a week, I am working on. Well, actually, I should say after Fanime, I have more time to do stuff. I'll just say that. So the movie podcast that we do, we're actually going to do the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 movie review on this Tuesday on our Facebook page.
That'll be fun.
Yes,
It'll be a lot of fun.
We're going to be talking about a lot about Guardians of the Galaxy 2, our thoughts and reviews about it. So if you want to check it out, it's going to be on facebook.com/missionstartpodcast. If you want to check it out, if you're in the chat, so it's links below this video stream. If you're listening to the audio, it's going to be later on tonight on that Facebook channel. So be there and listen to our thoughts about Guardians of the Galaxy. Alright, so I think that's about it. So with that being said, I'm actually going to go out with this. So, thank you for watching, everybody. And I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.